Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason here from Poor Man's Preparing, back with another video. And this time I'm going to check out the 22-piece shelter building kit, which is a B.o.s.s kit provided by Stanford Outdoor Supply. So as usual, we'll run that intro and get right into it. Alright, it is a little windy today, so I apologize for that. Hopefully you can still hear me and the microphone doesn't pick up too much wind noise. That is what it's designed for, so hopefully it holds up. But we'll take a look at the items that come in the kit real quick, and then we'll set it up and see how well the overall kit does. First thing up, we have 50 feet of paracord. Next up, we have a small, just a little generic folding saw, nothing too fancy. Next up, we have a ground cloth. This is just like a plastic drop cloth kind of thing. I'm not sure how big it is, but we'll see here in a few minutes. And of course, the main item in the shelter building kit is a waterproof tarp. It is 84 inches by 84 inches or 7 by 7 feet. You get 6 aluminum tent stakes with some reflective orange cord on them. They seem pretty well made. You get a Mylar space blanket, rescue blanket. We've all seen these before. Next up, we have 6 line adjusters. And basically what these do is they make it easier to apply tension to your rope and keep it held in place a little bit. These aren't really necessary, but they do help a lot. Next up is 8-inch wire ties. These are the black kind. They're more resistant to the sun. Alright, so that's the items included in the kit. Now I'm going to wait for the wind to die down just a little bit, because it's just super windy. It's going to blow the tarp everywhere, and when you try to do things like that on video, it makes it so much harder. But next time you see me, we'll be setting this thing up. Alright guys, it's actually another day now. It was a little windy the other day and I didn't feel like finishing it up, but today we are going to set up the shelter and see how well the kit does overall. So first thing you want to do is set up your ridge line for your tarp. So let's do that now. Alright, so we're about to tie up the ridge line here using the 50 foot of paracord that was provided in the kit. But the first thing you want to do is look around, be mindful of your surroundings, your area. Make sure there's no dead trees, no ant hills or anything like that are going to be right where your shelter is going to be. So after you look around, make sure that everything's safe. Then you want to tie up your ridge line for this particular kit. So let's do that now. One more thing you want to consider when tying up your ridge line is the height. You don't want to put it too high so your tarp is really high off the ground, especially in a cold environment. You want to keep the shelter as compact as possible to help retain some heat. But I'm not going to tie any fancy knot here or anything like that. You can go look up some knots on your own if you want to, because I'm just doing this for display purposes. But you know, in most cases, just your regular old knot. It ain't going to go anywhere. Alright, so if you could notice, this is a pretty big gap that I'm using right here. Just because it's right in my backyard and it's going to make it a lot easier for filming. So the gap on mine's a little bit longer than yours will be. But just ignore that and tie up your ridge line. Now again, you want to make sure it's nice and tight, and that it's not too high off the ground. I mean, that's not going to go anywhere. Alright, so next up we're going to put our tarp on our ridge line. You see it's a little loose because of the gap, but if we stay to the side of one tree, it'd be a lot better. Like I said, the gap that you choose when actually setting up the shelter, when you're not doing it for filming purposes, should be a lot closer. But let's throw this on and see how well it does. But there's a couple different options for setting up the shelter. Number one would be use the zip ties, put it straight on a line like this, and have it just kind of like a lean-to style. but that's not what we want right now. So we're gonna move this, set it up different. All right, so we got our tent stakes here as well. So the style we want to go for is kind of your traditional teepee style. Just throw the tarp over one side. Wow, the wind is really not liking me right now. But, well, that's real nice. But stick a stake in the ground. Now, it would have been really nice if these stakes would have actually fit inside the grommets of this tarp. I just assumed they would. These are pretty small grommets. So, man, that changes the plan. Alright, we had a slight change in plans from my original idea. Because like I said, the tent stakes did not fit through the grommets. I would definitely, man, that's just really disappointing. Anyway, let's just move on past that. And we'll do it a different way, using the included wire ties. Alright, we got our wire ties on there now. Got them nice and tight. The tarp's not going to go anywhere. Like I said, this isn't the shelter that I would have in the winter time, but because it's still warm outside, this will be just fine. So what we'll do now is, since these tent stakes don't fit in the grommets, I'm just going to go grab some different ones and use them to stake down the back of the tent, just to show you what it should be like. Alright, so I just got some regular old cheap tent stakes. I'm going to stake the back of this down finally and show you what that would look like. Check for the wind direction, because right now mine's like a parachute and you want to do it the opposite of that so it won't blow away. But like I said, I wouldn't even put this here normally, but it's just for filming, so just keep that in mind. But I'm going to take this down and set it up how I'd normally set it up, with tent stakes that fit through the grommets. Alright, now let's try this one more time, the right way. Alright, so this is how I would ideally set it up. Just kind of your standard like teepee style, or whatever you call it. You lay up in there in the middle. It's simple. You get blockage from the wind on two different sides, two different openings. Alright, now that we have all these flies out here, it's so hot. It's almost October. It should not be 90 degrees in Kentucky. Anyway, now's the part, if you so choose to, take the plastic drop cloth type of thing and you want to line the bottom of your shelter with it. If it's big enough, you could go around gathering up leaves and things like that. And go ahead and like fill it with them. Now if it's real windy, you want to make sure you have something to hold this sucker down with. But in most cases, if you're going to be sleeping inside of here anyway, you put your gear in there with you, use that to hold it down for when you're not in the shelter itself. Alright, so we got that in there now, and it's a good size for this tarp. It'll work great. And of course the purpose for it is to separate you from the ground and the insects and condensation that might occur, and help protect a little extra layer of protection. Alright, so that's the type of shelter I would set up using this kit. Nice and simple. Obviously I didn't use all the gear in here. Like number one, I didn't need this saw. The wire ties, of course, I used some of them in the initial setup, so they work good. The tent stakes were not really the stakes themselves because they seem all right, but I was a little upset or disappointed that the tent stakes didn't fit through the grommet holes on the tarp. That would have made things so much easier for me. Like sometimes it's a pain in the butt anyway to set up a shelter or a tent or whatever it is, whatever you want to use. But doing it while filming, of course, makes it twice as hard. And when you have to stop filming to go find a suitable tent stake to use that fits through the grommets, that really just gets under my skin, you know. Something that hopefully they'll address in the future, and maybe either get a tent or a tarp with bigger grommets, or get some thinner, slimmer tent stakes. But of course, we have a mylar blanket as well. But seeing how it's technically fall, but it feels like summertime. It's super hot today for some reason. But besides all that, I think it's a great little kit, you know. It's got everything you need in it, plus things you probably won't have to use. I used some wire snips just to snip the wire ties, so that's something to think about. Make sure you have a good multiplier or a little pair of side cutters. They make some really small ones of these that would be easy to throw in this bag. Alright, so I'm done sweating for today. I got the shelter set up. Now I gotta take it back down so the wind doesn't blow it away or anything, which I don't think it would. It's pretty secure in there. Well, as soon as I said that, it slid off one of those cheap aluminum tent stakes, you know, just the little L-shaped ones. Alright, so that's that's the shelter I would set up, because I think it's the easiest. Of course, it would have been a lot easier with the right combination of tarp and tent stakes. So, but this is why you set things up, you practice at your home, not out in the field. So this way, like by doing this, I know that I need to swap these tent stakes that are in this kit with these ones right here, and use these ones for my tent and stuff, because it's got bigger grommets on it. It's actually little sewn loops. They're not even grommets, so these stakes will work perfect for that, and these ones will be suitable for this kit. But that's why we set things up in the future. That's why people like me review this stuff, so you don't have to go through this hassle, hopefully. But anyways, it is a great little kit. I definitely would recommend it. You know, of course, for long term, I'm getting a silky saw and getting rid of this one. But I mean, heck, those silky saws are anywhere from $25 to $40. So, but that's it, guys. So as always, be sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more, and remember, be ready.